Hey guys, welcome. This is my YouTube channel and your place to go for any travel advice on gap years and pretty much just traveling in general. I really wanted to make this channel because I do know that traveling in the States is a really taboo topic, and I really want to help spread the word that you can travel as a young person and go experience the world before you retire and you're old. For me, I took a gap year in the fall of 2015, right after I graduated college, and it was literally the most wonderful experiences of my life. I learned so much about myself and who I am and what I want to do with my life, and just the things I can live without and the things I couldn't. And before I went and traveled, I was really unsure about that all. And I graduated college and I have a degree in social work, but I was never sure if I really wanted to do it. And now I have better ideas of what I want to do with my life because I took the time out to enjoy life and find exactly what I want to do. And I really actually wish I had known about traveling sooner than when I did travel. I probably would have graduated high school and took a gap year then, but I really didn't even know that it was a possible thing. Actually, how I learned about traveling was from a friend who went and backpacked the world and experienced everything in the world, and I would see all of these posts of her in Bali and Thailand and Australia and Germany and Ireland, and I'd message her on Facebook and be like, how are you doing this? How can you afford to travel? How can you just drop everything and leave? And she was doing such amazing things, and here I was at school reading books and studying my butt off just to be a social worker. And yeah, social work's a really great thing, but she's experiencing the world and I'm sitting here. I don't know, it's something that I really never thought I'd have the chance to do, and because I didn't think I could ever afford it. When you think of traveling, you think of really expensive and just kind of out of reach. But when she came home, I sat down with her and I talked with her, and she told me about how she traveled and how you can work while you travel and get different visas. So while you're in the different countries, you can work for a certain period of time and find jobs for short periods of time, in the hostels or with families, on farms and stuff, that will either give you accommodation by you working for them or give you money so you can keep traveling and doing what you want to do. So that was really cool, and she told me all about it, and I kind of was just on board right then and there. So from that point, I did research on the different places I could go and the countries and the visas that you needed to be in those countries, and how I can go over there and kind of have a job when I start it, because I'm a really nervous person in general. So for me, a big important thing was if I was going to travel, I wanted to have a place where I knew I'd have work right away, and kind of just a place to start out and go, and not just be in a country where I wasn't doing anything and just was there being like, hey, I'm here. So when I finally had decided I was really going to go, I had learned about au pairing, and it kind of appealed to me. So I looked on aupairworld.net and Facebook and just a few different sites to try and see if I could find a family to host me. And at that point I had narrowed it down to 4 starting countries, being Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, and Switzerland. And I had a bunch of families who had messaged me saying they were interested in me au pairing for them, and I started messaging with them, and I found a family in Australia. So that's where my journey and my gap year planning began. From that point, I worked on getting my visa and looking into airfare and just getting everything ready to go and be in Australia. My turnover time between accepting my au pair job was actually really short. I actually accepted in July and left for Australia in September, right after the summer ended and my summer job ended. So really, I just spent a lot of time with my family, saying goodbye to my friends, learning about how I can keep in touch with my family while I'm away, and just packing and being prepared for my new journey and my year away from home. So then my journey in Australia began. My host family picked me up from the airport in Australia and took me to their house, and I lived with them and au paired Monday through Thursday and had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off to kind of do what I wanted to. And they lived in Melbourne, so it was like a really good area to be in because it was near a major city. I could take the train into the city anytime I wanted to, and I was able to get out and meet people and see like all the amazing places that there were locally. And I spent a lot of time meeting other au pairs in the area and just having a lot of fun with like people my age and just exploring the city. And I actually stayed with my host family for about 2 months. And then I went and traveled part of the East Coast. I backpacked between Melbourne and Sydney, and when I mean backpacking, I don't mean that I walked the whole coast. I stayed in different hostels and took buses and planes and trains and cars to get different places, and kind of just saw all of the sights between and great cities and just what's going on between Sydney and Melbourne. And I traveled and backpacked for about a month, having the time of my life, meeting new people and trying new things. It was amazing. And then after that, in the beginning of December, I actually had found another au pair position and went and au paired for another family for about a month until Christmas. So that was a lot of fun. This family, I didn't have as much time off, and they were a little bit further out of the city, so I didn't quite go out as much as I did with my first family, but it was still a lot of fun because the family was really great, and they lived on a farm, and that's something I had never experienced before since I'm from an area that's not really farmy. So they had sheep and goats and pigs, and it was just like a really cool experience, and the family was just so kind to me. So after au pairing with the family, I went and spent some time with my friend who lives about 2 hours south from Sydney, and I spent Christmas and New Year's with her, and that was a lot of fun. She showed me around some parts and areas that, like, as a tourist and a traveler, I wouldn't normally get to see, but since she lives locally, she knows like a lot more, and I got to see some things that probably most backpackers wouldn't get to see. And then after being with her for the holidays, I went and backpacked from Sydney all the way to Cairns and Cape Tribulation, and that was like an amazing experience and like one of my dreams come true because I don't know if anybody knows the geography of Australia, but up that way is where you start running into the Great Barrier Reef and getting to see all of the amazing things up there. It's super warm and super great. The water is the bluest thing that I've ever seen. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I got to do things like trying to surf and scuba diving and snorkeling, and I lived on a boat for a few days and an island, and it was just wonderful and amazing. So after my wonderful backpacking journey up the East Coast all the way to Cairns, I decided to go back down to Sydney and look for a job just to try and find a place where I can settle for a while, get a job, earn some money, and kind of just enjoy life. I spent about a month there and didn't really find a job that I was like really looking for, so I ended up going back down to Melbourne and au pairing for the family that I was with right before Christmas. It was a wonderful experience. I worked 5 days out of the week, and then on my days off I'd go to the city and spend the night in the city, stay in hostels and get to know people in the city and hang out with the friends that I made the last time I was au pairing there. So I had a lot of fun doing that, which I did that for about 2.5 months, and then I decided I really liked au pairing, but I wanted to move closer to the city where I can kind of enjoy life and not live with the family that I'm working for and kind of get away from kids for a little while. So I moved into a hostel and worked for my accommodation and found a job as a swim instructor to earn money to be able to do other things. So that was a lot of fun. I still got to be with kids and work with kids, and then I had my adult time where I got to have fun and go out and party and meet guys and new friends and stuff. So that was really awesome. And then in May I decided that I was going to come home. Not because I wanted to end my travels, but because my funds were a bit low and I really wanted to be able to continue traveling. So I decided to come home for the summer and work here because I had a job as a lifeguard and a swim instructor anyway. So I was able to come home and work really hard and save up so I can travel again. And which my plan was to come home in June and then save up through August and leave in September to go to Thailand and teach English, which was a really good plan until I got offered a full-time job at my job, which I'm still currently at. I still have every intention to go to Thailand, but for the moment I'm continuing to work full-time and get some professional job experience, and then hopefully eventually in the near future I will be going to Thailand to teach English. But for now, that is my travel experience and my journey. Thanks for listening to my travel experience, and if you guys want to learn how to have a similar one and how to go about planning a gap year and everything that goes into it, subscribe to my channel and I'll help you guys out the best I can. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask me and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching.